Alrighty, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Daily Roundup webinar. Hope everybody's having a great trading session. So we got this big rip up in risk, and it pulled, the dollar down along with everything else higher against the dollar. And we've seen things moderate just a little bit. We've seen the euro come off. There's these big bonds that are being issued this week that on Thursday, we do believe, and that's pulled up the euro dollar because they think that there's going to be strong issuance there, and there's going to be a strong take up in these surety bonds. Anyway, I don't know a lot about it, but it seems to be one of the things that's keeping the euro relatively bid. So if you want to play the dollar, playing it against something else seems to be more appropriate as of right now, especially knowing that we're in the middle of this range. You guys know I've talked a lot about this, 120.50 to 122 range, and we're just kind of mid-range ahead of the FOMC. So I think the FOMC is going to be a bigger mover, but that doesn't mean that intraday you can't get these bouts of buying driving the euro up a little higher, and I think that's what we're seeing currently. Hold on one second. So the cable is back above 137, but we're up against major resistance. We know this is really big resistance. I think if you're long the sterling right now, you've got to be paying attention to this. I did tweet out, and we did actually send out the pound yen, which is up against the multi-year. This is another wedge resistance. Multi-year trend line coming into play, around the 143 level, 142.70, somewhere in this neighborhood. That's a big one, in my opinion. The risk reward here is to short the sterling or the guppy, if you want. I'm not in that camp. I don't think if I'm going to play the dollar long, there's other things that I'd rather do. If you were in the chat room earlier today, I picked up the US dollar Mexican peso at like 1998. And, I spun out of it, but at 20.03 and a half or something like that. And I did short some Aussie dollar. I'm down like 20 pips in that. But like I said, if I'm going to play the dollar, I'd rather do it against other things right now, not against the euro, not against the sterling. But that's how I feel right at this point in time, based on the information that I have currently. Speaking of the Aussie, you can see the Aussie. It looks like we're respecting this channel very well. We're near the 78% retracement. Also on an intraday basis, let's go over to this hourly. The Kiwi did the exact same thing. A little false breakout, probably squeezed a lot of shorts right there. Not saying that it's not finished. I'm just saying that we did manage to squeeze a lot of shorts right at that point. Same with the Kiwi above this resistance here. But as long as stocks stay relatively bid, I'm assuming that the Aussie and the Kiwi are going to stay bid. Let's talk about stocks. So stocks are, right back up against their highs. We had possibly a little poke above the highs here, just to poke above that resistance. But still, you look at stocks, they still look strong, right? It's hard to bet against the market right now. Although we did have a nice reversal up at that resistance. I don't know if I'm not sold on the fact that equities are coming down at this point in time. Dollar Canadian's trading a little heavier than I thought it would be. I actually thought we had already got a foothold above the 50% retracement here that comes in at 126.85, but it's actually trading a little heavy, and surprisingly too, because crude oil is weak. What else is going on that I think needs talking about? Just remember, the FOMC is tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to get a huge amount of volatility ahead of the FOMC. You might just get some position squaring or maybe some moderating of the moves that we've seen today, but I'm not expecting anything big at this point. I still think that if you look at the dollar index, you know, we're floating between this like 90 level and now the 618. So actually, I think this is going to be more important resistance for the bulls to take out, which would be the 618 retracement right there. But I think that our range is going to be just a little sideways as we go into the FOMC tomorrow. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I want to talk about one last thing. Normally, I don't watch the IWM. I'm usually watching, when I'm watching equities, I watch the S&P. Okay. I watch the NASDAQ, you know, and then I usually watch the Dow. Usually I'm not watching the Russell, but the Russell has been really leading the charge. If you look at the difference between, here's the IWM, right? You have the IWM, here's the S&P, and just look at what the S&P has done over the last, couple of weeks. We're just kind of range bound here. NASDAQ, we stopped going higher, I guess is the way to look at it. The Dow has really been moving sideways since the beginning of the year. And then you have the Russell that has been, the last few weeks has just been kind of grinding higher. It's actually trading heavy right now. It's trading not too far from the lows. So keep an eye on the Russell. I think if the Russell starts hitting new lows of the session, that might start to upset the apple cart a little bit. So just keep an eye on it. Okay. Dimitri says, hey, Blake, I see a triangle on the Aussie dollar 4 hour. Let's take a look. Maybe we could probably go like this and like this, I guess. Like that. Or are you looking at something that's more like that? That's possible. Yeah, we'll see if we can maintain if we don't break above these highs today. I think as long as we hold below 77.60. But do you know what's happening? Do you know what's happening later today? Australian CPI. So be careful with that. Okay. Jason says, Blake, do you see that Shamath bought GME calls today? Truly a mania when billionaires are joining in on the fun. Yeah, it's really crazy. Really crazy. Yeah, I saw he bought like 115s, I think, for, is that what it was? Yeah, he bought 115s and he's probably already out of them. He probably bought them, earlier today when the stock was in the mid 80s and it's already run up 10 points and he's probably already out of those things. Yeah, crazy, huh? I mean, if you're a billionaire, that's one way to throw your weight around, right? Anyway, truly a mania. Yeah, I saw Zero Hedge was saying that Fizz was running, and I mean, I don't know what to make of this market, guys. It's just kind of crazy. Yeah, Fizz keeps running higher. Yeah. Anyway, good luck today. Remember, the FOMC is tomorrow. Try not to get too carried away into this afternoon. Getting too directional and any dollar trades, really. Okay. All right, guys. Have a great one. Thank you all for your continued support. I appreciate each and every one of you. So does the rest of the team. And remember, next week we're going to be starting the FACE webinar at a different time. It's going to start at 9 a.m. Eastern. Go for 45 minutes, half an hour, depending on how long it takes me to get through the FACE webinar and answer some questions. So I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Alexander said you'll send an email communication, right? I believe it'll be out in this week's, the times will be in this weekend's newsletter. We try to keep the emails to a minimum because if we send out too many emails, our email provider sees us as spam, and then we get thrown into like junk folders and stuff. emails are very tricky. So yeah, we're trying to keep it. We try to keep it to a minimum. Anyway, all right. Thanks, guys. Have a great one, and we'll talk to you soon.